This is our apple walnut salad. It's a little bit of celery, just a really light mayonnaise and red wine vinegar dressing, a balsamic reduction with honey, and more cheese.
We'll start off with Mark and let him tell you a little bit about the Hefner, and then Greg will tell you about the food and why we went with that, and then we'll start getting you the beer.
First beer that we're going to have tonight is the ephemer that comes from ephemeral, which means fleeting. This is the base of this beer is actually the Blanche de Chambly, but during fermentation we add a very small amount of apple must, which totally changes the flavor from a little bit from an orange to you get a big Granny Apple Smith nose and almost a soft, almost honeydew melon type flavor. So it's light, it's refreshing, makes an absolutely fantastic outdoor beer garden beer. There's really three things that I'd like you to do. Look at the color and enjoy it with your eyes. Smell the beer and enjoy it with your nose. Taste the beer, and then think about the aftertaste, and then repeat the process again to really get the full flavors of the product. And I think you should do that before you have it with the food, so in between the pairings, take a sip of water to have a fresh palate. If you try the food first and then go to the beer, it will wholly change the beer, where if you tried the beer then fresh, it wouldn't be the same beer in your own mind.
My name is Greg, I'm the chef here at the Beer Engine. I want to welcome everybody here. I see a lot of familiar faces there. I don't have any really complicated instructions as to how to do food. You get bonus points if you put both hands behind your head. With the ephemer, I put together just a really light little apple walnut and celery salad, kind of like a Waldorf. Very lightly dressed, mayonnaise, red wine vinegar, and a romaine leaf. I drizzled a little bit of reduced balsamic vinegar that I mixed with some honey. And then along with it, there's a little bit of Morbier cheese from France. And you should, on some of the slices you can see it. Unfortunately, as I sliced it up, we kind of lost the effect. But the wheel of Morbier has a thin line of ash through the middle that results traditionally from milking the cows in the morning, putting the milk up to turn into cheese, and then you throw a layer of ash over it, and then the evening milk would go on top of the ash, so you would get that wheel with a little bit of ash in the middle. So I hope you enjoy it.
Who can tell me what donde do means?
Gift of God.
Excellent, there we go. Round of applause for him. And if you would look at the label, you'll see a ship on the label. That ship was named the Donde Du, was commissioned by King Louis to Champlain to explore this new world called the Americas. And it's Champlain that's really credited for founding Quebec. Now, the style of beer is what's known as a triple wheat. The first beer you had was 5.5, now we've jumped to 9%. So this is a big boy Weiss beer. This is really the Blanche de Chambly, which you guys didn't have, but it's a classic Belgian white beer on steroids. So it has more wheat malt, more barley malt, more spice, more hops, more of everything. So it really intensifies the flavors. So with that, Brussels and Donde Du, sauté.
How was the first pairing? My thing is that I want the beer and the food to really work together. So if you think that works, then that's great for me. The beer, to me, this is a classic Belgian style beer. The French probably think Belgium is part of France. That's just the way they are. And I always take a Brussels with Belgian beer. I got a little bit of an orange note, and I thought the capers would be nice. I hope you like it.
This is a special beer for us because we use a smoked whiskey malt in this beer. So it's one of two beers that we use a little bit of smoked malt in.
I mean, how many people have been here before, right? Right. All right, so who's the butcher shop that I'm always talking about?
Chef's Choice.
Chef's Choice, exactly right. Now, I was like freaking out. I'm like, I think this is the first beer dinner I've ever done that didn't have one item from Chris Krieger from Chef's Choice.
Home dinner.
So I'm thinking to myself, you know, what can I do? do? I can't change the menu. And since Chris just jumped into a ravine without a bungee cord, I'm not going to call him at the last minute, ask him to whip something up for me. So I did the next best thing. I couldn't bring any of his meat, but I brought Chris Krieger. I've never even seen anything like this last dish. You know, I mean, I said, I'm going to do baby lamb chops wrapped in bacon. And then I started to think about how I was going to cut each piece of bacon and like little strips and wrap 180 little baby lamb chops of bacon. I said, screw that. And I ended up cutting like 3 bone racks. I cooked it off. I cut them up, wrapped them in bacon, seared the bacon in the pan because I guess it's kind of like a mignon, you know, like filet mignon. You know, I mean, like the name comes from a woman's hairstyle with a band around it. And they originally did that so because filet, the steak cut, you know, the tenderloin doesn't have a lot of flavor. So it's a way of getting flavor into the steak. I'm serving the lamb with like a sour cherry glaze. It's actually kind of a gastrique, which is a kind of sauce that's very rarely served anymore. It's got a little bit of vinegar in it, some sugar, and then dried sour cherries and water, and I reduced it all down, put it through a little blender, and it came out. I think it came out really nice. I hope you guys enjoy it.
For any of you that was the first dinner, I said, we need to do a lamb slider. And Greg put out lamb quarter pounders on Shabbat. The second course.
And they were delicious.
Okay, the beer that we have is Modit. Does anybody know what Modit means?
Devil.
The dam. Excellent, very good. Stylistically wise, a lot of people say, well, what style of beer is it? It would be an Abbey style double strong red. Really no Abbey style double strong red, but that's about the best way that I could describe it. It's a double because it goes through 2 fermentation processes. It's more red in color. To me, this is the spiciest beer that we'll have tonight. It's also going to be the hoppiest beer tonight, but you'll find that the hops are never going to be at the forefront of Unibrew's products. They're an integral part, but never the shining star. So with that, Sante on the Modit.